And this little kid who was 12 years old, told me that, ma'am, do you know that girls like to be hit while having sex?
One of the girls, they said, okay, now this is the shame part.
We often assume conversations around consent, sex, and sexuality to be reserved for adults. We have grown up feeling awkward when condom ads played on TV and steamy scenes rolled out in cinema halls. But what this creates in the mind of a child is a sense of shame, secrecy, and taboo around these topics. They get exposed to them nonetheless.
There's a very easy way out today for the child, and that is go on the internet and click on the internet and ask their questions. This world which opens up for them when the child goes on the internet is a scary world.
It's a sad situation that we have to arm them with various kinds of information and knowledge just because the world is not safe.
Recently we were doing a session with I think they were 6th or 7th graders, and we were discussing reproduction with them. And this little kid who was 12 years old, told me that, ma'am, do you know that girls like to be hit while having sex? Now, where do you think this kind of attitude is being formed? Obviously, porn has been their child sex educator. Now, the child's attitude towards sex, towards women, will be so negatively defined because of what the child has viewed. So it's very important that you as a parent become the source of this information for the child rather than the internet.
It is very difficult to have open conversations with a teenager all of a sudden. Right from the time they are a toddler, if we can have conversations surrounding various subjects, the 10-year-old or the 11-year-old will find it very comfortable to start conversations at home.
Child sexual abuse has become a serious public health concern in the contemporary scenario. The World Health Organization has defined it as a process or an activity where a child is inappropriately touched, hugged, or assaulted without their consent, leading to serious mental and physical damage. In India, we see minors not only getting assaulted but also often committing these offences. According to reports, around 53% of Indian children reported experiencing different kinds of abuse, which included being forced to nude photography, assault, inappropriate touching, and sexual abuse. The start to preventing this begins with education.
Sex education starts with non-sexual situations at home.
It's never too early to start talking about the bodies itself. If you're saying fingers and toes, you can very well say penis and vagina.
You have shamed these body parts, or you have sexualized these body parts, you have objectified these body parts, you have a lot of taboo surrounding these body parts. For the child, it's just another body part.
But how do you begin? Where do you begin?
So, for example, even if a child as young as, say, 6 asks you, what is a condom? First, find out what the child already knows about it. You tell them how everybody is wearing a mask to prevent infection, or you wear gloves to protect your hands when you're coloring your hair. In the same way, there's a medical contraception which couples use when they do not want to have a baby.
If my daughter has to understand that no means no, it has to start from me respecting her no at home, saying no when they are done eating. That's a huge learning that the child gets, that I should follow my body signals. When my body tells me I'm done or I'm full, I need to listen to it. Instead, what are parents doing when the child says no at the dining table? Parents downright say, no, I know that you are not done. What is the child understanding during that process? My no does not have any value.
I remember very clearly that my mother had told me about periods and had given me a pad. Should there be a day when I start my period and she's not around, I was ready. So अगर आप शुरू से ही आप awkward हैं और आपने कुछ वैसे घुमा फिरा के बोला, बच्चे ने आपसे क्वेश्चंस पूछे और आपने कहा कि अच्छा नहीं कल बात करेंगे, तो वो बच्चा आपके पास आएगा ही नहीं.
I overheard a conversation with these girls when they played. Her friends, so they were playing with Barbies. So they were removing the Barbies' dresses. They had other dresses to change for the Barbies. They changed the shoes and all these things. So when they were changing clothes, I overheard that one of the girls, they said, okay, now this is the shame part. And my daughter said, it's not called shame part. It's called the vulva.
The young parents mostly struggle to talk to their children about the concepts of sex education because they never had such conversations with their own parents before. But if they do, it's mostly the mothers who explain the concepts to their child.
We've always seen that for the parent session, it's always about 90% of the mothers will turn up, and we are very fortunate if we have even 10% of dads there.
It's not only important for both parents to take part in the conversation. I think the onus is on the father a little more over here because, children need to see how their fathers are behaving in the family as well. So it's not just the moms.
The men in our generation who are young fathers of today, they have not had their fathers getting involved in anything. They have not seen it. So if you have not seen something, it's very difficult for you to emulate it or model it. Nowadays, I'm seeing a huge shift. So compared to what I saw 6 years back, today, around 30 to 40% of my audience are couples.
Sex education is beset with taboos. In schools, boys and girls are often even taught simple biological reproduction in different physical settings. The sex education experts believe that normalizing these conversations and making them universal is a way forward.
Research also says that children who can be confident and open about their private parts, who can name their private parts, are safer from child sexual abuse.
We have to stop segregating genders at every stage. In the classroom, if there is an accident and the girl gets a stain in her skirt, how embarrassed we used to feel at some point of time. If I ask you for a band-aid, you'll take it out and give it to me. Give me a pad also. Now I put it in an envelope and black polythene and all of that stuff. Boys need to know about periods. Girls also need to know about what boys go through, that they will also be going through changes. Everybody needs to know about everyone.
When you're taking that pad from the cupboard, you can always tell your child, Amma is on her periods. This is called pad. That conversation is enough for the child to understand there is nothing shameful about periods.
But in spite of several workshops and parental guidance, sexual abuse cannot be foreseen in an absolute sense. So what one can do is better prepare our children to handle it.
Tell the child that if ever you feel unsafe about anything at all, remove yourself from that situation as soon as possible. Go to the nearest adult. The younger the child, the more important this piece of advice.
Any kind of touch, for example, a handshake, a pat on the back, a high five are all good touches. All touches which hurt them, for example, slapping, pinching, all these are categorized as bad touches. And then there's the third category of touch, which is in certain parts of the body without permission. And those are absolutely not okay touch. Ask a child that, okay, you are alone at home and your music teacher has come home and the music teacher is teaching you music lessons and they start touching you on your private parts. What will you do? Saying that, okay, you can possibly, go and hide in the washroom, take the phone, call the parents, or get out of the house if you can, go and tell the neighbors.
First of all, if your child understands body autonomy, nobody is supposed to touch me without my permission. Even my mama hugs me after asking me. If you have these basics established at home, your child is empowered to handle the situation outside. But they might freeze, but then after they unfreeze, they will react. Either they will say, no, why did you do it? Or I'm going to tell Amma, I'm going to tell Appa, wait till I reach home. This, that, they can run away from there, or they can just push the person, or their body will do something. Suppose they could not react at all. They just froze and the person just left. Okay. These children will know that it is perfectly okay and safe to come back and report to the parent.
It's only when you start young that you form a safe space for children to come to you openly and candidly. It's only then the child will feel confident of divulging details or asking questions.
Listen carefully to your children. If you can do that together, that's really the best report card of your relationship, your openness and your comfort level with the child.
The parents are like, I haven't even spoken about these things with my partner. We have not had a conversation about pornography. Then how am I going to talk about pornography to my teen? See what kind of relationship you are in. What is the connection that you have with your partner? How intimate you both are? What sort of healthy conversations you both have? How sexually open and receptive you are? How is your sex life like?
Never fear questions. Practice making a Buddha face. So, just this kind of an expression. go back, do your research, and come back and then give the child that answer age appropriately. You would have not just given an answer to that child, you would have forever opened the doors of communication between you and your child.